You're watching the Livewell, exclusively on Bassmaster.com.
Hey, welcome. It's Livewell time. Getting very, very excited here. Very, very close, just days away, in fact, from the start of the 2018 Bassmaster Elite Series season. That is just around the corner, and this time we're going to have a regular season event before we go to the Geico Bassmaster Classic. This time around, a single event, and it's going to be, well, I'll put it this way. In years past, on the Elite Series, we have leaned on the waters of the state of Alabama in a big way, yet we have never done a single Elite Series event on Lake Martin, as well respected and well known as it is. So for our preview of Lake Martin today, speaking of well known and well respected, let's talk to the man who is the tournament director for all Bassmaster Elite Series events and the Geico Bassmaster Classic. And you may not know this, but he's a guy with a very impressive set of credentials as a professional angler back in the day. A set of credentials which gets shined up even more when you look at his performance on Lake Martin that we're talking about here. I'm talking about the one and only Trip Weldon. Trip, thanks for making a couple of minutes for us today.
Well, good to talk to you, Tommy. And I brought my props, my Alabama stuff. Nick Saban replica of his practice hat and my 17 national championship logo hat. So we're going to be in the state of Alabama. Sorry, Auburn fans.
Oh, thanks for that. That's a big relief. What a load off that you were able to bring those two important props there today. I just can't get enough of that Roll Tide stuff, and I'll just put it that way. Well, let's move on, Trip, and talk about Lake Martin and coming up very, very soon on that as we stand here and speak today. We're about about 17, 18 days out from the start of the tournament, it looks like. As we look at the weather forecast, it's going to be just dead center, normal type weather for this time of year in Alabama. What does that mean for the fishing on Lake Martin?
Well, first of all, I'm super excited about opening on Martin. I have, 35 years of tournament experience there. But yeah, the weather this year has been crazy in Alabama. I mean, last week we had icy roads down there. We couldn't get out for a day and a half, and we've had teams. This year, when last year we didn't have any temperatures in the teens at night. We've had coves on the lake frozen over, but things are settling down a little bit, kind of getting more into a typical winter pattern where highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s. So hopefully that will stay consistent, and fishing should be good. All
right, a consistent situation in the first or second week of February at Lake Martin means the guys are going to be doing what? Are they be catching spotted bass and largemouth, or targeting one or the other, or trying to load up on both?
Well, we did a podcast, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But I think you have to have both in your bag. Now, I'm anxious to see what the world's best anglers show us where the spotted bass fishing is concerned offshore. And there are really big spots in Martin. There are two dynamics that have changed the lake a little bit from what I'm accustomed to. First of all, the water's only down about 7.5 feet, where typically this time of year it's down 10 to 12 feet.
Okay.
Which one will make it fish bigger. And then the last 2 years we've had the introduction of blueback herring in the lake, which we've had. And so the spots are getting bigger, fatter. We know what that does. But the lake's going to fish from head to toe. It's going to fish great. It's going to fish big. Anglers should be able to fish to their strengths. But some of these guys, as we saw what they did in the opener last year at Cherokee, can get offshore and really show us some pretty cool stuff fishing vertically. And I think we're going to see a lot of that as well.
All right. Well, that's plenty to look forward to right there. Just quickly, for everyone who's followed us in the Elite Series through the years, people know what Guntersville is all about, what it looks like, what it's capable of. Ditto for Smith Lake. They know all about the Alabama River if you've been watching with us, and the Coosa River Lakes, Jordan and Lay, and so forth like that. What makes Lake Martin? I know it's older than most of those lakes, except for the Alabama River, which is not technically a lake.
Right. Well, it's a watershed reservoir for flood control purposes. Has no grass in it other than it has a little bit of shoreline grass in the summertime when the lake's full, and it has a little bit of slime on the bottom. But as far as grass, there won't be any grass fishing going on. It's a very red clayish, rocky type, big boulder type structure. And it looks, I always say it looks like your hand with the arms on it. You have the Lower Kalijah Creek, Parker Creek, the Narrows and then down by the dam. Then you head up the lake. You have Blue Creek, which is almost another entire lake on the east side. Above it, Sandy Creek, Monroe Creek. Then you get on up around where we're taking off at Wind Creek, and you can run all the way up the lake to up the river to the shoals, and from there it's uphill, so you cannot go above there. But the entire lake should be fishable. It should be a great tournament venue. I think we'll see lots of limits.
Okay.
I think weights, we talked about it on the podcast. I'm going to guess after 2 days, if you average between 9 and 10 pounds, you're going to get a check. My guesstimate on winning weight, Tommy, is between 50 and 55 pounds.
50 and 55 pounds. If you can average between 15 and 16 pounds, you'll be there on the final day with a shot at winning, kind of is what you're saying.
I think so. You're going to see, I'll be kind of surprised to see a 20-pound sack. I think we could see some 17 to 18s, but to do that every day is really hard to do on Lake Martin.
All right.
If you can do 17 in a day and follow it up with 10 pounds the next day, that's a good day.
All right. We are looking forward to that. And Trip, that podcast you mentioned, of course, you can find that. That's you, Thomas Allen, and the other big expert there on Martin is Chad Lewis?
Chad Miller.
Chad Miller. Chad Miller. That's
here in the pod. I've kind of had my run on Lake Martin, and Chad is the man now.
Okay, all right. You got it covered there. Check that out right here on Bassmaster.com. Also, a little preview of Lake Martin from Matt Herron. You can see that on the video page as well. Of course, Bassmaster.com. We will be gearing up for full coverage 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th on Lake Martin in Alabama. We'll have Bassmaster live for you on the 9th, 10th, and the final day, the 11th, for the all-day long coverage. So we will have it for you. We will get the season started in style. Trip Weldon, thank you so much for being with us today on the Livewell.
Thanks for having me. We look forward to seeing everybody there.
All right.